Καλησπέρα σας. Ονομάζομαι Έφη Καρατοπούζη και η συνεργάτης μου που δυστυχώς δεν είναι εδώ μαζί μας σήμερα είναι η Dr. Μαρία Βιερινού. Σήμερα θα σας παρουσιάσουμε μία μεθοδολογία πάνω στην οποία έχει γίνει μία έρευνα δράσης. Είναι γραμμένη στα αγγλικά η έρευνα, την οποία θα προσφωνήσω και στα αγγλικά. Και αυτό γιατί δουλεύω στο σχολείο της Αμερικάνικης Παροικίας που βρίσκεται στην Αγία Παρασκευή στην Αθήνα. Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ την ΕΓΒΕ που μας έχει καλέσει και που δέχτηκε την εργασία μας. Θεωρώ ότι είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντική αυτή η έρευνα, αφορά τους καθηγητές φυσικής αγωγής και τα παιδιά. Ελπίζω να τη δείτε με μία ματιά πιο ολιστική, που χαρακτηρίζει τα τελευταία χρόνια τον τρόπο διδασκαλίας. Έχουμε ξεφύγει από τη διδασκαλία η οποία είναι καθαρά μόνο πρακτική και αυτό να διδάσκουμε μόνο στα παιδιά. Θέλουμε κάτι περισσότερο και επειδή εμείς οι καθηγητές φυσικής αγωγής είμαστε κάτι περισσότερο από δάσκαλοι, ερχόμαστε πιο κοντά στο μυαλό τους, στο σώμα τους αλλά και στη ψυχή τους. Αυτή η έρευνα και η μεθοδολογία αφορά αυτά τα τρία χαρακτηριστικά που στα αγγλικά mind, body and soul είναι το μυαλό, το σώμα και η ψυχή. Όπου στη ψυχή τι άλλο έχουμε, όλα μας τα συναισθήματα και μάλιστα αυτά που είναι βαθιά μέσα μας. Όπως σας είπα, η παρουσίαση θα είναι στα αγγλικά, οπότε ξεκινάω και ελπίζω να σας φανεί αρκετά χρήσιμο. Mindfulness in physical education. A research study regarding mindfulness at the elementary school during COVID-19. Effie Karatopouzi, Dr. Maria Vierinou, American Community School of Athens. Oops, excuse me. How did mindfulness... How did mindfulness tools and MBS method affected in a positive way the well-being of our students in elementary? So in this research, we will see and we'll define how does mindfulness and the tools that we use in the MBS program affect children during the lesson. That means physically, mentally, and emotionally. So which are the tools that we are using in this method and during the action research? We work with grades from kindergarten, first grade, second, third, fourth, and fifth. This is the amount of the students that took part from 2019 up to 2021. And in total, there were 242 students participated. And below, you can see all the above numbers per grade. All students took part in most of the tools that we use during the lesson. Part 1, the beginning of the lesson. In this circle, we come and sit every time we have PE. Now, physical education in our school, it's 2 times a week or 40 minutes. Students in this circle and the teacher share how they feel, how their body feels, what are their emotions, and what they're thinking about physical education in that day, in that particular day, because every day is not the same for everyone. So by sharing these emotions and feelings and thoughts, we get together, we get connected, and we do realize that each one of us is unique, but at the same time, we all work in a team. So we respect each other. We know what we are supposed to do in the day because the teacher explains what is the lesson about. And I come in the same level with the students as because I share my feelings. If I'm tired, if emotionally I am sad or very, very happy and excited, if I can focus in the day. And the most important thing is teaching students to work individually on their own skills and powers. So this is a very important part in our in the PE lesson. It only takes 5 minutes, but it has amazing results on students' self-esteem. Part 2, during the lesson, students follow the curriculum. Here we have first grade doing motor skills. That means they jump, they roll, they go through, they gallop, they do a lot of skills that I have taught them. But here they're through exploring game. That means students are aware of their actions. They're aware of what they are doing at the moment. And this is what is one of the tools, making students understand what they have to do and in what particular time, respecting each other and keeping safe themselves, following directions. Part 2, the end of the lesson. It's a reflection and gaining back lost energy. What does that mean? Students, if they get angry, furious with each other, or they get a lack of oxygen because of a very high intense lesson, then we lie down. We don't have to close our eyes, but students do eventually after 2 minutes, because they realize that how effective is to learn how to control your mind, your body, and your feelings. How relaxing it is to understand why I got angry, what happens when I lose, how do I get control of my mind and my emotions, and how do I relax the body by using some techniques that we are going to see below. So at this moment, kids go back in a very, very positive condition in order to go back into their lesson with the homeroom teachers. Overall, with this study and the research, Dr. Avierino was participating in this methodology. We could see that for each grade, the participation for each tool was from about 70% up to 100%. Of, like, let's say, the role playing and storytelling, 100% kids were into it. Visualization, 4th grade, 70%, 5th grade, 70% of participating in a very goodwill and positive way. Body scan, 4th and 5th grade, 80%, and teaching, breathing, and techniques, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and 5th, all grades took part on this technique method. 80% and above was the participation. Don't forget, this is a measure, and not just face-to-face, but virtually. But virtually things are not so easy as when we are face-to-face. So what are the outcomes having this methodology? Why do we do it? Because eventually we see the self-esteem of a student getting very high, regardless of his powers of the technique or his knowledge about a sport. But his self-esteem gets really high when he realizes his own powers and not trying to combine himself with somebody else that is better than him. So what we do, we focus on our own powers. We are aware of what we are doing and not what somebody else is doing. We are more calmer in our reactions. We focus better, and we balance our 3 elements, that is the mind, the body, and the soul. And this is because we focus on what we are doing and not what somebody else in class is doing. We are 20 different personalities in class, and one of us is 21. So I think as a teacher differently. But yes, I need to get aware of how I feel in the day and how I will acknowledge what my students need. So I need to be there. One of the techniques is breathing. There are many, many ways. It's not a boring breathing like we do for us as we adults. We have breathing in and breathing out and making bubbles. We have feather breathings or paper napkin, and we have the feather here in our on top of our mouth as we lie down. We breathe in, we breathe out, and the feather flies. Same with easy with a piece of paper, a small colorful piece of paper. And then we go on and imagine colors and so on. There's so many techniques in breathing. That is very, very good for the children to realize how to breathe through their nose, out through the mouth. It really helps them not just on the workout, but when they get stressed and angry, So breathing really makes them focus how they feel, focus how the body feels, and get all the tension out. Body scan is a very good tool. I use it at the end of the lesson, or perhaps if I have a very, very high aggressive class, I sit them down and I try after a few times to feel and see in their body with their eyes closed, where do they feel tension or anger? And then we use the breathing to get all this out from our head, from our body. And it doesn't take time. It seems like it takes time, but it doesn't take time. You only need 5 to 10 minutes to go back in normal. And the benefit on this is that kids realize what's going on in their heads. They acknowledge their feelings and they can see that in their body, because emotions and the mind affect the body movement and the body reaction. When we had virtual lessons, except of the workout that we do and the teaching, I used to put some mindfulness boards that you can find them online. And I had students do their mindful exercise at home with some music. And these are the outcomes of their mindfulness workout. So students write down how they felt. And actually, most of them, about 90%, they were positive. Move and learn through fantasy stories and imagination is one of the tools that I use from preschool up to second grade. Through this kind of method, students build up their own mind, body, and emotional powers during the lesson, because as I said before, feeling free in the lesson and learning the limits and having rules, kids understand how to jump over a big rock, how to go through in a tunnel without being on top of their head, but making them feel free to move and explore how they feel when they balance in a high balance beam, how they feel when they throw a heavy ball or a light ball. So that makes them put in a very smooth level, slowly, their abilities. And it's very important for a student, especially in a young age, to know what are their abilities and their expectations when you are having a normal class. Okay, so it's not the same to start a class and start sprinting or running and intensive. Kids who do not acknowledge the powers and how they feel, if they have fear, if they're feeling comfortable to do an exercise, if they have flexibility, this is the way for them to explore and see their own powers. And then when we start teaching them a regular lesson, they will know what to expect from themselves. So they feel secure of what they can do and they can talk to the teacher. So I think this is very important to start off a lesson and the year. This is some cards that I use during virtual learning. So showing the picture, showing the animal movement, I do it and the students follow. So sometimes we make stories with pictures that students follow and they really love, because sometimes I read a book and they follow what the book says, like going to a pond and getting into a boat. So they do all the movements through pictures and storytelling. And that is very interesting, and kids love the idea that they have to follow a story, a different story. Creating a culture of how we feel, how we move and think during the lesson has a positive impact in children. And there's we have a reflection paper that I use not every week, but every 2 weeks or 3 weeks in this research, where I ask children to, how do they feel when they are angry, if they can have good thoughts, or when they get their body stiff when we do the body scan, if they can feel free to think, if they feel happy, if they can have happy thoughts. And they write down what they feel, but actually they draw too. They want to draw to show their feelings. So this says that when they're stiff, when they're angry, when they are tired, they cannot think something nice. And when they get to use the tools of mindfulness, like breathing and visualizing something nice, that's the time that they feel happy. Section of the children during and after the lesson. So that was a short part of our action research. Thank you for your attention. I am glad to have conversations or attend with practicing and after the COVID, so we can I can share my method with many of you. I think it's you will find it very interesting and very valuable for you and your students. Thank you very much again for being here. It's been an honor for us, and I hope you like the presentation. Bye-bye.